Good afternoon, Keluarga Malaysia. You're with me, Renee Fong, on Updates at Noon. Making our headlines today, gazetting of cooking oil's maximum price considers all parties. The gazetting of the maximum retail price of pure cooking oil in bottles will be implemented by taking into account the interests of the industry and the welfare of the consumers. Deputy Minister of Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs, Datuk Rosul Wahid, said they are doing this to protect the interests of both the industry and consumers. Elaborating further, the Deputy Minister said the government does not want to pressure the traders, and at the same time, they also do not want the consumers to be victimised.
Kita bergantung kepada harga minyak semasa. Kita tak boleh tentukan, dan saya yakin harga maksimum ini akan berubah. Sebab kita bergantung pada sumber, berubah bersumber asal minyak tersebut. Kalau CPO naik, kita terpaksa naikkan. Kalau CPO turun, kita tentukan. Itulah sepatutnya untuk adil kepada pengguna.
Datuk Rosul added the government will have to put a balance. Traders need to run their business wisely and the consumers must also be smart. On Monday, Special Task Force on Jihad Against Inflation Chairman Tan Sri Anwar Musa announced that the government will gazette the maximum retail price of pure cooking oil in bottles to ensure that the product will have its maximum price from time to time. He said the move was deemed necessary after discussions held with the industry to lower the price of cooking oil were proven ineffective despite the decline in crude palm oil prices. Collaborations in agricultural research need to be intensified to speed up the process of producing new varieties of products besides saving costs. Agriculture and Food Industries Minister Datuk Sri Dr. Ronald Kiandi said without cooperation from all parties and agencies, research studies would not only take a long time but also involve huge expenses. Commenting further on the matter, Datuk Sri Dr. Ronald said holding research collaborations with other parties is unavoidable because, for example, to produce a new variety of high-quality rice alone takes more than 10 years and costs almost 1 million ringgit. Meanwhile, the minister noted that MAFI had begun collaborating on joint research with other ministries such as the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation, MOSTI, and hoped that the country's agricultural sector would become more modern and advanced in terms of the application of technology, equipment, as well as research on new varieties of crops. He added that the government also expressed hope that the agricultural sector will continue to contribute to the country's economy. The National Recovery Council (NPN) has recommended that Bank Negara Malaysia (BNM) set up a fund for food to encourage farmers and agro-entrepreneurs to explore the country's food production sector more aggressively. NPN Chairman Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin said it can be done through the provision of loans by Malaysian financial institutions and commercial banks. Tan Sri Muhyiddin said the fund will help alleviate the burden of inflation on the people, especially among the B40 group. Earlier this month, Prime Minister Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob announced that an allocation of 100 million ringgit from the Agro-Food Fund, regulated by the BNM, would be channeled to cooperatives involved in the sector to boost food production and increase national food security. In another development, Tan Sri Muhyiddin said the government should carry out a review of the subsidy system in the country as it involves a large amount of money. On the increase in the overnight policy rate OPR, which affects loan interest rates in Malaysia, the MPN chairman said the move was appropriate because it was also implemented in other countries, such as the United States, to reduce the burden of inflation. He added that whatever it is, it would be up to BNM and the Ministry of Finance to decide on the fiscal policy. The Malaysian banking system could continue to deliver resilient performance in the coming year, although global and domestic conditions have become more uncertain. According to RAM Ratings banking sector specialist Amy Lowe, sturdy capitalization and strong provisioning buffers have put banks in a good position to cope with fresh macroeconomic headwinds from the spillover effects of the Russia-Ukraine war. She said any rating action will likely be prompted by bank-specific challenges rather than broad industry concerns. According to Lowe, the agency expects loan growth to come in at 4.5 to 5% in 2022, driven by both household and business loans. Lowe said Bank Negara Malaysia's two recent 25 basis point BPS overnight policy rate hikes and another 25 BPS increase expected in the second half of 2022 may dampen credit demand, but should not derail the loan growth momentum. In addition, Lowe noted that banks' exposure to assisted loans dropped sharply to around 8% as at end April to mid-May 2022 from 28% as at end December 2021. Still ahead, Prosperous Village Aspiration Program to ensure village sustainability. Land acquisition for economic development needs to be done carefully so that every action taken does not go beyond Article 13 of the Federal Constitution. Energy and Natural Resources Minister Datuk Seri Taqiyuddin Hassan said Article 13 of the Federal Constitution provides for the right to property, that is, no one can be deprived of his property except in accordance with the law, and no law can provide for the taking or use of the property by force without adequate compensation. Datuk Seri Taqiyuddin said land acquisition for economic development needs to be done carefully because there is a possibility that its validity will be challenged in court if it is not properly managed. He said this in his speech text, which was read by the Ministry's Secretary General Datuk Rosli Isa at the closing ceremony of the 2022 Land Acquisition Seminar in Bangi, Selangor yesterday.
Pada peringkat awal, ketentuan mengenai tanah, keluasan yang terlibat, jumlah pampasan dan mereka yang menerima pampasan mesti dipastikan prosedur yang seterusnya selepas itu ialah tindakan dengan susulan seperti pindahan cukai, pengeluaran hak milik sambungan serta pemilikan secara rasmi dibuat.
According to the minister, the land acquisition method is implemented through the Land Acquisition Act 1960 by the state and federal governments to acquire land for the implementation of projects for the benefit of the people and the development of the country's economy. The sustainability of villages and rural communities will continue to be strengthened through the implementation of the Prosperous Village Aspiration Program launched by the Ministry of Rural Development, KPLB. Its Minister Datuk Seri Makzir Khalid said the effort involving villages, longhouses, orang asli and traditional villages throughout the country was aimed at creating villages with complete infrastructure in various aspects, such as basic facilities, markets, health, education, human capital, entrepreneurship and social. Elaborating further on the matter, Datuk Seri Makzir said the Prosperous Village Aspiration will be developed as a comprehensive socio-economic development program to create village communities that are resilient, initiative, self-reliant, knowledgeable, and with high level of work discipline for the villages' development and well-being. He added that this effort is also to ensure that the aesthetic characteristics of a village encompasses natural resources such as rivers, mountains or waterfalls that are to be preserved and not to be adversely affected under any circumstances. On villages that are still lacking in terms of development, he said implementation of the initiative could also act as a platform to identify and channel allocations to intensify development activities. The Ministry of Communications and Multimedia plans to provide more than 600 points of presence POP fibre optic network hubs, especially in rural areas in Johor, with a total project value of 525.3 million ringgit. Johor Menteri Besar Dato' On Hafiz Ghazi said Phase 1 of POP installation will start this year, involving 50 areas near schools and 5 industrial areas, adding that Phase 2 will see the installation of 568 POPs expanded to the entire state. Dato' On Hafiz said he had the opportunity to meet and discuss with the Minister of Communications and Multimedia Tan Sri Anwar Musa regarding communications and internet coverage in Johor. With POP provision, the network and broadband infrastructure coverage can penetrate areas around schools and populated areas, in addition to having an encouraging 4G coverage. Dato' On Hafiz hoped that widespread internet accessibility will not only help to develop the rural economy, but more importantly, allow learning materials to be downloaded to improve the quality of education in schools. He said he and Tan Sri Anwar Musa also discussed the 5G service that is often talked about and expressed hope that when it is launched, the Greater Johor Bahru area will also benefit from comprehensive 5G coverage and eventually the entire state. Coming up in sports, Sabah edge PJ City to maintain second position in Super League. Sabah recovered from the disappointment of being eliminated from the FA Cup last week by recording a 2-1 victory over Petaling Jaya City in Super League action at the Petaling Jaya City Council Stadium last night. The Rhinos faced a fierce fight from the home team, especially in the first half, which saw PJ City take a 1-0 lead thanks to striker Darren Loke's header from V. Ruventiran's corner kick in the 34th minute. But Dato' Ong Kim Sui's men fought back in the second half, with Japanese import Taiki Kagayama equalising in the 48th minute. Muhammad Irfan Fazaya then cleverly put the ball into the back of the net, beating goalkeeper Kalamullah Al-Hafiz Matrowi in the 75th minute to seal the win. With 28 points from 11 matches, Sabah continued to put pressure on league leaders Johor Darul Ta'zim JDT, who have 29 points with 2 games in hand. As for PJ City, they are currently in 9th place with 11 points. Meanwhile, in another Super League clash, Melaka United hammered high-flying Penang 4-1 at the Hang Jebat Stadium in Melaka. The Panthers, who defeated Sri Pahang 5-2 last weekend to qualify for the semi-finals of the FA Cup, were a jaded side against Melaka United, who scored through Emmanuel Oti, Adriano Narciso, Ifedayo Omosui and Justin Bass. Melaka United opens the score sheet in the 4th minute through Ghanaian winger Emmanuel Oti before Brazilian import striker Adriano Narciso doubled the lead in the 36th minute. Penang were put under further pressure in the second half as Ifedayo Omosui and Justin Bass scored Melaka United's 3rd and 4th goals in the 58th and 60th minutes respectively, but managed to pull one back through Lucas Silva in the 86th minute. The win saw Melaka United move up a rung to 6th to the Super League table with 16 points from 12 matches. Penang remained bottom of the 12-team standings with 7 points from 13 matches. With that, we end today's updates at noon. In our top story, gazetting of cooking oil's maximum price considers all parties. Tune into news at 10, coming up at 10 p.m. on My Free View saluran Berita RTM channel 123. Or you can also stream the channel via YouTube or RTM's Click web portal and mobile app. Thank you for watching. I'm Renee Fong Salam, Keluarga Malaysia, and have a pleasant afternoon.